Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all lands. I'm Lunar D8. This is Let's Play How to Date a Magical Girl. No, you're good. I know the murders at your school must be really hard on you. I can't imagine what an effect it's having on your school life. But what I'm here to talk about is kind of selfish. I hope you'll forgive me. Oh, you're not here to discuss Miss Yoshida? Miss Yoshida, wait. Was it a teacher who was killed this time? Yeah, a practical magic teacher. That's horrible. I knew there was a murder, but I automatically assumed it was another student. I'm so sorry, Lunar. But if you'll pardon me, the reason I'm here is unrelated. Okay, what did you want to talk about? I'll be going away for a while. I'm afraid we won't be able to see each other for quite some time. Well, I mean, it's a good thing, phones exist. You're going where? Overseas, I suppose. For work? Something like that. Something came up, and I can no longer avoid facing. How long will you be gone? I can't say for sure. I'm sorry. I know we've become good friends, and now I feel like I'm abandoning you. We can still talk on the phone, right? It's best that we don't. I think I see. You've met someone, haven't you? Anyway, I should be off. Well, that's a yes. Hear that, or just top secret military stuff, and you're like, oh, it's better he just thinks that. I just want to tell you in person, and see you one last time. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Noriko, one more thing. You should leave that school. It's so dangerous. 3 murders in just a few short months. Get out of there, Lunar. Look for another academy to attend. Can't leave, my friends are there. I have to go. Goodbye, Lunar. Noriko! Musashi! We'll be paying our respects to Miss Yoshida. We have a memorial service this afternoon. I hope you will be able to attend. The normally bustling classroom is quiet this morning. Only half of our class students are in attendance. All of the gossip rumors that swirling around like a hurricane last week have vanished. The students are far too afraid to continue their hushed whispering. I know a lot of your classmates have left the academy for good. It's unfortunate, but unavoidable considering the circumstances. To those of you staying with us, please accept my heartfelt thanks, and I promise to get to the bottom of this. In the meantime, I will be taking over practical magic class until a suitable replacement teacher is found. I look forward to continuing to teach you all. I'm surprised to see Ray walking in the hallway today. I thought for sure she would be taking more time off after the death of her aunt. Ray? Oh, hey. Are you feeling well enough to be here? No, not exactly. But what else am I going to do? Hey, could we talk? I found out something about your aunt from Miss Atsuka. I think I know what you're talking about, alright? Let's go up to the roof then. So, what did Miss Atsuka tell you? She mentioned that your aunt, Miss Yoshida, used to be a member of the Cult of Nine a long time ago. Did you know that, Ray? Yeah, I knew. She only ever told a few close family members, and some teachers too, it sounds like. The thing is, she left the cult such a long time ago, she was safe. But, I asked her to investigate the murders, I asked her to talk to her contacts, and find out what the hell's going on, and that must have led to her being killed. It's all my fault. I wouldn't have gotten involved if I didn't press her. Honestly, if they were already killing people in the school, they would have eventually come for her anyway. At worst, you just moved her up on the list. But, 1, don't blame yourself, and 2, if they were going to do that, they were going to do it anyway. Regardless of what she did. Whether she would have been trying to help them or just stay completely uninvolved. Heck, even if she had amnesia and didn't even remember being part of it. Ray, you can't blame yourself. Yeah, I can. It's all because of me. No, it's because the person with the hammer and the nails. I would have stayed out of it, but kept pushing and pushing. Like I said, if they were going to kill her, they were going to kill her regardless. Like I said, at worst, you just pushed her up on the list, but they would have eventually came for her anyway. So it's better we at least tried to find out what information we could early on, rather than just stay ignorant and ignore it, hoping it would just go away and then, everybody would have died anyway. So I need to make amends. I need to fix what happens. What will you do? I'm gonna find the cult and I'm gonna kill them all. Okay, but how's your transformation going? Also, I may need help with mine. Ray, they've been murdering students and draining their powers or whatever. And now they've murdered a member of my own family. I'm gonna make them pay, every single one of them. Ray, you're talking about killing people, just like they do. I think, again, I'm not advocating real life people to do things, but, you know, there's a difference between killing an innocent person that did nothing to anyone as opposed to someone who's actively a serial killer. I feel like there's a difference. It's kind of like saying there's perhaps a difference between, I don't know, I'm finding a terrible... Like, I'm trying to think of an example, and I'm like, I can't. But you guys get what I mean. But yeah, I'm just saying there's a difference. But then again, I mean, that's part of society, is defining what is that line. I mean, I'm sure I disagree with many people on what is the line between right and wrong on many subjects. But I at least feel that my way of defining it is the correct way. But I think everybody would say that. That's just how that works. It's not the same. They started this. Fight back. It's self-defense, right? Technically, I mean, I'm not sure how the laws are in this world at this one. I mean, realistically, I mean, I think there would still be a prosecution that would take place IRL in the world of us people playing video games, but I think in the end that's part of the purpose of a jury trial. Because one, it's more important than following the exact letter of law is to understand the intention behind it, whether you're talking religious law or secular law. And there have to always be some exceptions for certain laws. For example, yes, you shouldn't kill people, but if it's self-defense, it's understandable. Then, of course, there's situations where, you know, either some extreme situation occurred or, like, but that's the purpose of a jury trial. One, to determine, firstly, if the person is guilty. And secondly, to determine if the person is guilty, would the people that are members of the jury, would they have committed the same crime if they were in that person's place? So first off, obviously, if the person is innocent of the crime, then the jury member should rule innocent. Even if they hate the person, even if they have some sort of personal bias against the person on trial, if the person is proven innocent, now they should rule it innocent. You know, reasonable doubt. That being said, even if it's proven beyond a shadow of doubt that the person is absolutely guilty, and even if the person who is a juror has a bias against the person on trial, they should still rule that person as innocent if the crime they're on trial for is something that, if they themselves were in that person's place, they would have committed the crime as well. Also, you have to evaluate other things such as what is the punishment being given? Is the sentence fair? Is the punishment fair? Is the court system or the judge rigged it in some way? Is the government in charge of the trial somehow corrupt in the situation? But this goes into so many things. But the most important thing is, I'd say that's just an issue of just ruling what, like, as time goes on. I mean, heck, that's part of the 10th part of the Bill of Rights is, you know, hey, we don't really know exactly what to expect in the future. I mean, could you imagine George Washington knowing about things like the internet or the current world population or airplanes or us landing on the moon? And keep in mind, we landed on the moon when, my mother was a small child. We landed on the moon decades before I was even born. So, or heck, explain the way a quantum computer works, or nanomachines. Or heck, imagine. Then again, George Washington died because his doctors were retarded. They were the smartest of the smartest doctors in the world at that time. And yet they were still going by the common established ideology of the Greek medicine. That you had to balance the humors in the body, the phlegm, the bile, and all that. So they basically just had a man who was like dying of pneumonia and fed him stuff that would induce him to vomit and have horrible diarrhea, and also did bloodletting on the leader of the United States of America. The first president of the United States of America. So, if the greatest priority for a country's doctors is treated so badly that it causes his death, imagine what the common man, what kind of medicine he had available. Then again, think of it this way. Galileo was put under house arrest for saying the earth goes around the sun. Then again, we do have people saying that the earth is flat, or that dinosaurs never existed and it's a trick by Satan. Like, really? Really? And yes, I understand there's lots of things about history I don't properly understand. And yes, I acknowledge there could be times that there are lost bits of human history. That being said, I'll say this. I believe in God, but I also believe there could be a lot of things that I don't understand about the past. And things that are very hard for us to archaeologically understand. But regardless, anything found in that doesn't change my faith in God. And heck, I'd be okay if aliens just fucking landed on the White House lawn. The question is, who is supposed to be the representative of America at that point? Who would you want to be like the first impression? But then again, imagine if aliens ever did show up. They'd probably been watching us for a long time. And there's a good chance they just wouldn't even give a shit who would be the representative or anything. But beyond that is this. If aliens exist, as far as I'm concerned, God just made them too. But, yeah, there's just a lot of gray areas with, understanding how things have changed over just the past couple hundred years, let alone all throughout human history, between architecture, populations, food, travel, satellites, the knowledge of, we have things like the Hubble telescope and the Voyager. We have been able to send probes to different planets and outside of our own solar system. Plus, we are able to see into other galaxies. Our knowledge of atoms, nuclear bombs. Heck, Elon Musk started up Grok a couple days ago. So, I'd say the biggest thing I would recommend to everyone out there is just read. Read everything you can, especially older works. I think I'll make a community post soon about I think anime between 1968 and 2007 and video games from 1988 to 2014 would be the best place to look for quality. Not saying there aren't new games that are good or new animes that are good. There are plenty that are amazing. But I'm saying that would be the place I would recommend people start. But yeah, light novels, books of all kinds, Edgar Allan Poe, Canterbury Tales with Geoffrey Chaucer, the works of Shakespeare, the Odyssey, Homer's epic. Heck, there's a 1997 movie, Armand Assante. The Odyssey's a very good. Heck, Don Quixote. By Cervantes, very good, and for the longest time, it was the second most published book in the whole world, second only to the Bible. And keep in mind, Don Quixote, for all intents and purposes, is a story about an otaku, because it's an elderly man who he wasn't rich or royalty or anything. He had just enough money to not have to work for a living, but not enough to be rich. So he was basically a man who was just a little bit better off than, your typical merchant class person, but didn't really have to work for a lot of things and was able to pursue his own interests. And his own interest was he had all these books, animes and light novels, stories of medieval, like King Arthur and stuff. The idea, and keep in mind this was written back during that time period too by Cervantes, and the idea is he was writing about a fictional man who was well enough off to be independent, but he wasn't rich, but he didn't have to work for a living. And this man spent his time reading books, the Bible as well as everything. And he loved and enjoyed stories, basically, I guess. And he was impressed by the chivalry and the honor and the bravery. Impressed by the strength of character of the medieval knights, of things like King Arthur's Tale, and the honor in it. And he looked at the world around him, he felt disappointed. He felt like the world around him didn't live up to it'd be like someone nowadays watching, say, Bleach, and feeling like they want to live up to, like, the way Ichigo behaves. And looking at the world and feeling like it's just a world of tedious monotony where everyone's just working to survive. And everyone's consumed by violence, greed, and cowardice, and selfishness. And you just feel so ashamed of the world we live in and wanted to live up to the standards set in your anime books. That's basically the story of Don Quixote. A man who then goes off on his quest to try to be a real-life shonen protagonist. Keep in mind he's also an elderly person who, at the time, these words did not exist, but definitely had Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. He definitely had some form of dementia, and he definitely, granted, yes, he was an otaku. I guess dementia is kind of somewhat to be expected. But basically, he was an elderly person who was an otaku his whole life. And then he started having Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. So then he decided to just go out and be the hero the world needs. It was like Batman, except it's an old guy on a horse that charged into a windmill at full speed because he thought it was a giant. And yeah. I'm just saying it's a good story. I'm making it sound terrible. But yeah. I'm just saying with stuff like this, I would recommend that if anybody's considering this sort of stuff, you should discuss it with a lawyer first, or the police, and that way you can, decide what's legally okay. But, yeah, in general, purpose of a jury trial is, one, it's more important to make sure that people are found guilty. Because at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is sentence an innocent man to death or a lifetime in imprisoning. Because that man's innocent. Not only did Sorry, I had to burp. Because at that point, not only is the guilty person free, but now you've condemned the life of an innocent person. And especially back in olden times, sometimes they went to severe, horrible punishments, like cutting off parts of people's bodies. Like, oh, you don't need that hand anymore. Or you don't need that tongue. Which, one, that's so exceedingly cruel. At that point, there's no possibility of redemption. There's no possibility that person will be able to recover into a person that would be beneficial to society in any way. At that point, you're just being cruel for cruelty's sake. And keep in mind, a lot of times at that point, it wasn't about right or wrong. It wasn't about reforming people, and it wasn't about trying to do right or wrong. Heck, the enforcing of laws weren't even based on justice. It was just based on, oh, you're an inconvenience for those in power. It was just a way of punishing not those who were bad people, but for those who were in opposition to those who were rich or had status or power or sought power. So it wasn't an issue of punishing bad people. It was an issue of punishing people who, had the courage to speak up and have a differing opinion and saying the emperor had no clothes. And in fact, under such a system, usually the bad people would be the ones not only not being punished, but also would be the ones being rewarded for being bad people. At the end of the day, a lot of times punishments, heck, they were turned to public executions, even as a form of entertainment. Why? Simple. One, it was just petty, sadistic vengeance by those in charge against those who would dare oppose their authority. But also, it was a way of scaring everyone else. Whether you were for or against whatever policy was in place, it told you one very clear thing. Do what you're told. You shut up and you obey. You follow orders. You don't follow orders, you're next. You don't follow orders, you're a bad person. You don't follow orders, you will be murdered. You don't follow orders, you're a sinner. You don't follow orders, it means God must hate you. You don't follow orders, you're a shame to the country. You don't follow orders, everyone you care about will be destroyed. You don't follow orders, we just will take away your ability to have a business, or any amount of independence will destroy your honor. It was just about enforcing tyranny. Whereas real justice is supposed to be about, okay, we want to make sure we have a society where people aren't just hurting innocent people. But of course, we don't want to completely, bind, neutralize, emasculate, the average good person from being able to defend themselves or be able to stand up for what's right. Because at that point, it's not that they're doing something bad, it's that they were just standing up for what was right. I mean, it's kind of like, say if you were at a Walmart and somebody comes in and starts killing everybody, if you shoot that person, should you go to jail or should you get a medal? Obviously, these are very contentious and widely aggressively debated topics. But I'm saying people should be able to defend themselves. Now, obviously, yes, it's a lot of deliberation on it, but that's the whole point of having a long conversation. Main thing is this. If someone's purely innocent and had nothing to do with the issue, they shouldn't get punished. That's the last thing you should ever want to do. It's more important not to punish an innocent person. And then, even if a person is guilty, if the people in the jury would have also committed the same crime under those circumstances, it's kind of like saying, at one point, do you decide self-defense is a crime? Because they're saying, what if you say, okay, killing people under any circumstance is a crime, but you have a jury trial, and you find someone who had, been, let's say it's the 1400s, the pirates attacked you. I'm terrible at examples. Main point is this. Someone attacked you, you fought back, that person died. Well, you still technically killed someone, but that would be self-defense. And that's the whole point of the jury trial. It's like, well, yes, you are guilty of killing that person. But all the jury members in that situation, at least as long as they're sane, would have done the same thing. But of course, then there's a question of what happens. At what point do you decide, is a jury member mentally sound in terms of intelligence or sanity? Because it's like saying this. Would you be able to have a person from an insane asylum sit on the jury trial bench? Or and then of course you're supposed to root out any sort of, bias anyway, but like I said, justice should be about making sure that innocent people are not punished, and that if someone did commit a crime, that under the circumstances of what happened, is it something that actually really wasn't bad because of those circumstances? Yes, I started spacing out thinking about ice cream. Yes, I'm fat. I'm 5'11", I'm 215 pounds, and it's not exactly muscle. There was a Godiva ice cream store I saw once. Now, granted, those all don't exist anymore. This was like a decade or something ago, but they had a dark chocolate soft serve ice cream from Godiva. And I'll tell you this, best ice cream ever. It was delicious. Why can't that store exist anymore? It was so good. Okay. I forget what we're talking about. Ice cream's good. I like ice cream. Okay. Or do we just sit here and wait? Do we just wait and hope we're not next? Fuck that. Fuck living in fear. I'm gonna fight back. You don't need to be involved. But I'm gonna take them all down for the students here. How's your transformation going? Ray's resolve is strong. It's radiant. Almost blinding. I can tell she isn't going to let this go. Is she gonna get a Batman outfit? And somehow she's convinced me to help her. Ray, I'm with you. I'll help you out. Can't do much yet, but let me train with you and let's get stronger together. Ha! Now you're talking. Thanks, Lunar. I knew I could count on you. If we can convince Mimi and the others to join us, we'll be unstoppable. We could put an end to the Cult of Nine. Ray, hold her hand out and I grab it firmly. We shake and the pact is formed. We're going to destroy the Cult of Nine. We've let ourselves be victims for long enough. It's time to fight back. I don't think the Five Nights at Freddy's sound is copyrighted. As a whole, I was quite happy. Why is quite spaced like that? With your exam results from last term. However, of course, there is always room for improvement. I want to take some time to go over some of the earlier content from this year. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. Unknown number. Don't go after the cult. Leave the school. Huh. It's an unknown number. I try to reply, but my message bounces back. Don't go after the cult. Leave school. Did someone witness Ray and I vowing to take the cult down? Is someone spying on us? I take a worried look around the classroom and all I see are bored students. How bizarre. Right, we need to train up so we can take the cult on in a fair fight. 1. Fuck fair fight. We will win by any means necessary. 2. Should I tell you about the phone call? Should I tell her? Guys, let me know in the chat. If you were in my situation, would you tell her about the phone call? Text? I guess it's not a phone call, it's a text, but still. You guys know what I mean. Everyone's like, why are you staring at her boobs? I'm just saying I too have a long exclamation. Got it. Hey, you can already transform, right? Yep. I don't think I've ever seen your outfit. Aw, really? Well, I do it now, but it takes a lot for me to focus. That's what I gotta practice. It's fine, who needs the ability to focus? I don't want to just practice magic, though. I want to be able to pummel the cult members with my fists, too, so I'll be doing lots of physical training. Phew, sounds exhausting. Don't quit on me now, Lunar. I need you. Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I'm with you. Good. Then, let's get stuck into it. Ray and I spend the evening training. Between the two of us, we don't know where to start with practicing magic, so we run laps, do push-ups, practice our punches. All really helpful things, actually. I find it pretty hard to keep up with Ray, but at the very least, I seem to be helping her get past Aya's death. So, I'll keep up the training. And this is usually how, bonding works. Yeah, it's good to have conversations with people, but sometimes you can bond with people just playing a game pool together, or going on a walk together, or training together, or playing Halo 3 co-op together. A lot of times, it's possible to just sit and, not talk to each other and just sit in silence with each other. It's you don't have to constantly be talking. And I know that sounds odd given the fact that I'm always talking in these Let's Plays, but also keep in mind I talk more in these Let's Plays than I do in the rest of my entire life combined. I mean, a lot of times in life I tend to give very short responses, and the answer is, oh, why can't you be concise in a video? And the answer is, because the whole point of the video is just overwhelming waterfall of just needing to be able to talk, and this is the place where I can do it. Plus, you know, there are certain things you just can't discuss in public. Like, talking about tentacle hentai is not exactly polite conversation. Doggo! Go to school. Practice fighting techniques. I mean, it's raining, so... I know. What? What do you mean? What? Maybe I should wait for something to happen? Regardless, I should keep giving her gifts. Okay. Well, then I should have seen you at the library today, because... heck! Well, no, I can only give you one gift per day. It doesn't matter if I can see you twice in the day. Okay. Well, I don't know where everyone else is. I'll just work in the meantime. That's the thing I could have been doing if I had like 500 lollipops. Just visit everyone and be like, hi, I stopped at the department store. Here's a lollipop. Bye. I'll have to see like 4 other girls to give them lollipops. Like, okay, the story of how do we min-max. Another boring day of classes. Eerie attending school, so many students have quit. Ray and I use her lunch breaks to run laps around the school. Would see Miyu, but it's raining, so... Department store. Well, I could have still stopped by and gave her a gift. I'm terrible. Like it's like I feel like I need a flow chart to like remember what to do. Okay. Call that a video.